Now I'm going to read a book called Papa's Mechanical Fish by Candace Fleming, pictures by Boris Kulikov. This book has a lot of really amazing and intricate illustrations. So looking at the cover, I wonder, so we have some things to help us guess what this might be about. So Papa's mechanical fish. Mechanical means, what does mechanical mean? It means like something made out of parts, something machine, like a machine. So if you look at this picture, you see some fish. So you see the water, and you see a person inside of something that looks like a machine and looks like a fish. So I think this book might be about someone's dad maybe, who is called Papa, who builds a mechanical fish. Let's see. Pictures give us lots of information when we read these picture books, so we can figure out a lot by looking at pictures. Here we go, Papa's mechanical fish. Move this a little bit. For Charlene and Carol, a hometown tale from my sisters extraordinaire. To Max, Andre, and Kate. Okay. This is my Papa, and this is his backyard workshop where he spends his days thinking, tinkering, and inventing things. Hear that? Click, clangety bang, thump, whir. That's the sound of Papa at work. Click, clankety bang, thump, whir. Sometimes Papa tries inventing helpful things like collapsible coat hangers that are easy to store. Sometimes he tries inventing unusual things like edible socks. Ew, gross. And sometimes he tries inventing playful things that only just don't work, like steam-powered roller skates. He forgot to put the brakes on. Oh my goodness. But not once has Papa invented anything that works perfectly. I will someday, Papa tells me. All I need is a fantastic idea. But fantastic ideas are not easy to come by. So Papa twiddles his tools and pulls his hair. He racks his brain, sighs, and stares. Until one day he throws down his screwdriver. Enough thinking, he cries. Who wants to go fishing? I do, I holler. Me too, says my brother Cyril. Don't forget me, adds our sister Mary. Ma dada, squeals the baby Wilhelmina. Woof, barks our bulldog Rex. I'm so glad I brought along these poles, says Mama. There they go out, fishing. Wow, look at this picture. Look at these fish under the water. Wow. We all troop out to the lighthouse pier and drop our lines into Lake Michigan. Plop, 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 plop. Papa, I say, as we wait for a bite, have you ever wondered what it's like to be a fish? A fish, he mutters. A fish? Uh-oh, squeals the baby. Papa's pole clatters to the pier. He leaps to his feet. He whirls me around. Verena, you're brilliant, he whoops. Then he is gone, racing back over the sand dunes to his workshop. He's off. I think he's had an idea. Let's see what happens. Click, clangety bang, thump, whir. Ta-da, cries Papa a few weeks later. He opens his workshop doors to reveal... What is it, I ask. It's an underwater vessel, he explains. A mechanical fish. I will dive like a salmon. I will glide like a trout. Salmon and trout are types of fish, right? Papa's mechanical fish is so small he barely fits inside. It has a tube sticking out of the top so he can breathe. See this tube? Here's his drawing of his invention. It has a pole sticking out of the bottom so he can push himself along the lake floor. I call it whitefish, he says. But will it work? We keep our fingers crossed. Goodbye, Papa, we wave. Farewell, family, he waves back. Then the white fish is launched. Sploosh. But, glub, glub, glub. Papa swims back to the pier. It almost worked, he says. Looks like it didn't work. It sank. Here he is. He's been in the water. The dog looks mighty surprised. Almost, I agree. I think for a minute, then ask, Papa, how do fish move through the water? With their tails? Asked Cyril. With their fins? Adds Mary. Fishy go, squeals the baby. Woof, barks Rex. I'm so glad I brought along this towel, says Mama. She wraps it around Papa's shoulders. But he is too deep in thought to notice. And click, clankety bang, thump whir. Behold, Whitefish 2. Here's his drawing. It looks like he made a second version of his invention here. It looks a bit bigger, doesn't it? I don't see a pole anymore, but I still see the breathing pipe out the top. It is big enough for 2 people to sit in. It has a wooden fin on the top and a wooden propeller in the back. So here's the fin, and here's the propeller. Propellers go in circles, right? And that helps it move. Papa pedals it like a bicycle to make it go. Look at that. Goodbye, Papa, we wave. Farewell, family, he waves back. Then the Whitefish 2 is launched. Sploosh. It dives below the surface. Swoosh. But, crack, drip, splinter rip. Papa bops to the surface. It almost works, he hollers to us. Almost, I holler back. I think again, then ask, Papa, how do fish stay dry? With special skin, asks Cyril. With scales, adds Mary. No pee-pee, squeals the baby. Woof, woof, barks Rex. I'm so glad I brought along this life preserver, says Mama. She tosses it to Papa. But he is too deep in thought to notice. And, what do you think he's gonna do? I see a new plan. Click, clankety bang, thump whir. Behold the Whitefish 3. It's the third one. It is big enough for 3 people to sit in. It has a plunger to make it go up and down. Where's the plunger? Do we see it? I'm not seeing it in the drawing, but maybe your eyes are better than mine. It has a steering wheel to make it go left and right. I see the steering wheel. It has levers instead of pedals, and it is covered in waterproof copper. Copper is a type of metal, right? Goodbye, Papa, we wave. Farewell, family, he waves back. Then the Whitefish 3 is launched. Sploosh! It dives. Swoosh! It chugs beneath the waves. Clackada, clackada, clackada. But, crump. Papa clings to a buoy. Here's a buoy. These are in the water. They float on top. It almost worked, he says minutes later as we pull him into the rowboat. Almost, I say. I think some more. Then ask, Papa, how do fish know where they're going? Can they see underwater? Says Cyril. Do they have good eyes? Adds Mary. Peekaboo, squeals the baby. Woof, barks Rex. I'm so glad I brought along these oars, says Mama. She rows toward shore. But Papa is too deep in thought to notice. Now he barricades himself in his workshop. Barricade is like when you lock yourself in somewhere, right? So he's staying in that workshop. Cling, clackety bang, thump whir. He does not come out. Thunk, clunk, whack. We cannot go in. Tap, tap. He even covers the windows so we can't peek. Wow, he really wants to keep a secret. Zap! What's the big secret, I ask? Wait and see, Papa says. Just wait and see. Cling, clangety bang, thump whir. At last, he flings wide the workshop doors. Surprise! Ooh, we gasp. Ah. Wow, look at this one. The Whitefish 4. is big enough for 7 people to sit in. It has an air cooling system, an air compression system, and an air purifying system. It has a steam boiler to run the engine and a battery to run the headlights. It has velvet carpeting and comfortable chairs. Along its length are a dozen portholes. Here are the portholes. Papa grins. Who wants to go for a ride? I do, I whoop. Me too, says Cyril. Don't forget me, adds Mary. Go bye-bye, squeals the baby. Woof, barks Rex. I am so glad I brought along lunch, says Mama. Wow, look at this. They're under the water. One by one, we drop down through the hatch. The hatch is the opening in the top that you go through to get in. Then Papa seals it behind us, takes his place at the controls, and sploosh, swoosh, clackada, clackada, clacka. Wow! Hours later, we rise to the surface. We glide to the beach. We spread out a blanket and feast on ham sandwiches. Papa, I say between mouthfuls, that idea was absolutely, positively fantastic. Brilliant, says Cyril. Clever, adds Mary. Yay, squeals the baby. Woof, barks the dog, Rex. I'm so glad you brought me along, says Mama. She gives Papa a big, big smooch. Then a seagull flies overhead. I toss it my bread. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a bird, I ask. A bird, Papa mutters. A bird? Uh-oh, squeals the baby. Cling, clangety-bang, thump, whir. I think Papa's gonna go try to build something that flies. Now, I'm gonna read something that comes after this book. Like this at the end that says, it's almost true. So if you still have the patience, I can read this to you. This book has some connection to fact, so something that really happened. So I'll just read this to you. It says, while this story is fiction, which means it's made up, it is based on true events. In the summer of 1851, an eccentric inventor named Laudner Phillips really did take his wife and their children for an afternoon excursion beneath the waves of Lake Michigan. No one knows why Phillips became so obsessed with building a submarine, but for years he worked at making his dream come true. His first attempt was nothing more than a wooden hull that moved by simply pushing a pole along the lake's bottom. It sunk, but Phillips kept trying, and in 1851 he built the Whitefish. While it was not the first modern submarine, Phillips did make many important improvements in its design. His innovations included a steering wheel that allowed the submarine to go left and right, rather than just forward and backward, an air purifying system that kept fresh air for 10 hours when up to 4 people were in the sub, and a boiler that generated steam underwater to run the engine. Phillips patented his new and improved submarine in 1852, then offered it to the United States Navy. But the Navy wasn't interested. They claimed they only wanted boats that rode on top of the water. Phillips went on to patent other underwater inventions, diving armor for bringing up treasure from shipwrecks, an underwater cannon that could be attached to the outside of a submarine during wartime, and even a machine for making plastic buttons. Sadly, before his inventions could bring him either fame or fortune, he died in 1869 when he was just 43 years old. That's how old I am. As for the submarines he built, all were lost to history until 1915. That year, wreckers digging in the Chicago River, which runs into Lake Michigan, made a startling discovery. A submarine lay half buried in the river's muddy bottom. When it was raised, many people, including members of the Phillips family, claimed it had been built by the inventor just before his death. Placed on display daily in a Chicago storefront, the Fool Killer, as people nicknamed it, could be seen for just 10 cents. Eventually, the submarine was sold to Parker's Greatest Shows, a traveling carnival that exhibited it across the Midwest. But what happened to the submarine next is anyone's guess. It simply slipped from history and was never seen again. I don't know if you can see, there's actually a photograph here of that vessel. So that is the end of the book, Papa's Mechanical Fish.